So, there's been a bit of a shitstorm lately because someone decided to question the legitimacy of WWE, and that that caused quite a fracas, and it got me thinking, after the success of Raw Underground, and it was a success because I really enjoyed it, should WWE proceed as an MMA promotion? In this video, that's what we're going to find out, because I'm going on to WMMA. And if you don't know what that is, it's the MMA equivalent of TEW. And if you don't know what that is, that's the wrestling equivalent of Football Manager. And if you don't know what that is, then I don't really know what to say to you. So it is MMA. I've made some slight adjustments to the rules, just some little ones, nothing too major. But who is the man that's going to guide us on our journey to MMA success? It's Scott Avatar, apparently, because I haven't made anyone else. He seems alright. Looks pretty jacked. He could be the key to our success. But I'm looking forward to it anyway. I'm feeling good about this. We don't have Raw or SmackDown. Instead, we have WWE Fight Night. And we don't have Raw or SmackDown rosters either. We actually have weight divisions. So here is our super heavyweight division. Here is our light heavyweight division. Here is our middleweight division. Here's our welterweight division. Here's our bantamweight division. Here's our flyweight division. Here's our strawweight division. And here's our heavyweight division. Quite stacked, as you can see. And if you're wondering why NXT aren't in this, basically they're all just really scared. And it's nothing to do with the fact that it took me several hours to make the database and I wasn't arse adding another brand. Commentators. Yes, commentators is obviously very important. We have Scott Avatar, and I forgot to make any other commentators. So Scott Avatar is going to be doing the commentary. He has 5% analysis, so it can't be that bad. And he'll be commentating on Fox Sports 1 because we still have that Fox Sports TV deal and we're going to make good use of it. Every week, we are going to be having an MMA event starting now. Starting in a couple of weeks. Because apparently you have to give them notice before you throw them in there. They won't just fight straight away, which is a bit embarrassing, but we'll go with it. Anyway, here's the rundown of our first ever WWE Fight Night. In the opening match on the prelims, Wesley Blake's career has not been the same ever since Jackson Ryker tweeted out in support of Donald Trump. Wesley Blake believes that even though Jackson Ryker is a former forgotten son, that Wesley Blake himself is the forgotten son, and he gets to have his revenge tonight in the octagon. Ivor takes on Raw Underground star Dabba-Kato in a fight that could very well go Dabba-Kato's way considering his history in there. Braun Strowman takes on Shane McMahon at catchweight, or at least he was supposed to, but neither of them could agree on terms, so he's fighting Omos instead. Tucker feels as though he's been left behind after betraying Otis, despite believing that he is the best member of Heavy Machinery, so now, in the octagon, he gets to prove that he is the #1 member of Heavy Machinery and get his career right back on track. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre have fought many times in a WWE ring, but now they get to do it inside a cage on WWE Fight Night. On the main card, it'll open with The Fiend and Randy Orton finally getting their hands on each other inside the cage. Cesaro will be fighting Seth Rollins, and Aleister Black, after being mismanaged and underutilized by his boss Mr. McMahon, he gets a chance at revenge. In the co-main event, Asuka takes on Bianca Belair to see who is the top dog in the bantamweight division. And finally, in the main event, Roman Reigns takes on Edge, but he doesn't, because Edge thought that he was too famous to take on Roman Reigns, even though Roman Reigns is the top of the food chain in the heavyweight division. So instead, he'll be taking on a returning Jimmy Uso for the WWE Heavyweight Championship. So Jimmy Uso is the heavy favourite, just as you'd expect. But yeah, let's get into the results. Jackson Ryker submitted Wesley Blake. Ivor, despite giving up £45, submitted Dabba-Kato. Braun submitted Omos in an absolute fluke. Tucker submitted Otis in the first round. Sheamus battered Drew McIntyre. And according to this, Sheamus is a class act as an interviewee and carries himself like a superstar, so I won't disagree with that. The Fiend submits Randy Orton, and then afterwards he name checks all of his sponsors and thanks all of his fans. And I personally love the idea of a very casual Fiend being interviewed after his fight and saying, yeah, thanks to all my friends and family. Cesaro beat Rollins. The interview itself wasn't that great, but he's handsome enough that he doesn't need to be a particularly great talker. Couldn't agree more. Vince McMahon knocked out Aleister Black in 26 seconds of the second round. The first knockout of the night, just as everyone expected. Asuka beat Bianca Belair, and you're probably wondering, why wouldn't you put the Bantamweight title on the line? That seems like a title-worthy match. And it's basically part of my master plan. I forgot to put the title on the line. But this is what it's all about. The main event for the Super Heavyweight Championship. That beautiful, bland, empty piece of gold. Jimmy Uso is the new champion as he submits Roman Reigns. Again, fairly predictable stuff, but that doesn't mean it was a bad show. Nice. Okay, our popularity has decreased, but it's probably just a bit of a misunderstanding. Aleister Black got $120 for getting knocked out by his boss. I'm not an MMA expert, but that doesn't really seem like a huge amount. Oh, we got mail. Some interesting emails in there. I don't really think they're worth reading. But you know what is worth reading? The rankings. I really like these rankings. I have full confidence in the system. But now it's time for Fight Night 2. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the card. In the opening fight on the prelims, the greatest tag team of all time collide as Tamina takes on Natalya. Then another tag team collide, a former tag team, as Andrade takes on Angel Garza. Kofi Kingston fights Sami Zayn. Daniel Bryan fights Chad Gable. Slapjack, representing Retribution, opens up the main card with a fight against R-Truth. Jeff Hardy fights Apollo Crews. Shinsuke Nakamura fights Buddy Murphy, or he was supposed to, before Buddy Murphy's eyes fell out, so instead he's fighting The Miz. AJ Styles fights John Morrison in the co-main event, because what a match that would be. And in the main event, Shayna Baszler, former UFC star, takes on Rhea Ripley. Tamina beat Natalya, a charismatic talker with the looks to match. Tamina has real star power, I won't argue with that. Angel Garza beat Andrade, Kofi Kingston submitted Sami Zayn, and Chad Gable lost his face, which is very unfortunate, and he also lost the match. Slapjack opens up the main card by beating R-Truth. Jeff Hardy beat Apollo Crews. Shinsuke Nakamura TKO'd The Miz. AJ Styles submitted John Morrison, and in the main event, Rhea Ripley beats Shayna Baszler despite Shayna Baszler having actual MMA experience. A really cool lesson I've learned is that if you don't give anybody any bonuses, you save money, so we're going to do that. And we're making a profit, so that's good. What's not good though is the fact that every single fighter takes time off to recuperate after their fights, meaning we can't book the same wrestlers every single week, which is pretty embarrassing. But anyway, Fight Night 3. In the opening fight on the prelims, we couldn't have a tag team match, so instead we're doing 2 one-on-one fights as Retribution take on the Street Profits. Then Akira Tozawa takes on Drew Gulak before Grand Metalik takes on Lince Dorado. Both of these men have been betrayed by Kalisto in a betrayal that the fans absolutely remember, and they want to get their hands on Kalisto, but in order to see who gets their hands on him first, they must first fight each other. Then Mustafa Ali takes on Ricochet. Then, in a battle of who has the smoothest voice, Damian Priest takes on Shelton Benjamin. Lacey Evans takes on Chelsea Green. Sonya Deville takes on Dana Brooke. Naomi fights Retribution's own Reckoning in the co-main event. And in the main event, I don't even need to elaborate. What a card. Retribution won their tag team match, basically, even though it was 2 different individual fights. Akira Tozawa beat Drew Gulak, TKO'd him. Lince Dorado will get to fight Kalisto now that he's beaten Grand Metalik. Mustafa Ali submitted Ricochet, so I think this is a clean sweep for Retribution. Damian Priest TKO'd Shelton Benjamin. Lacey Evans doesn't let her pregnancy stop her from getting the win, which is really cool in a 15-minute war with Chelsea Green. Sonya Deville beat Dana Brooke. Reckoning completely fucks it for Retribution. Naomi gets the win and there is no clean sweep. And Peyton Royce in the main event beats Billie Kay in a 5-star classic. So there's a couple of hiccups in terms of feedback for that show. I think people aren't quite understanding my artistic ability as a booker, but nothing to be concerned about because we've new mail. Oh no. So it appears that Reckoning has tested positive for drugs, so it's all right. We can just ignore that. We don't have any prelims, but that is nothing to be concerned about. In the opener, we have Eric versus Mojo Rawley, an excellent fight that everybody's looking forward to. Then we've Riddick Moss versus Robert Roode. Then we have King Corbin taking on the leader of the Hurt Business, MVP. Jey Uso takes on Big E in the co-main event, and in the main event, Kevin Owens fights Goldberg in the octagon. Eric submits Mojo Rawley. Riddick Moss submits Robert Roode. MVP gets robbed by the judges. Jey Uso beats Big E. And Kevin Owens defeats Goldberg by submission. So, another fantastic show. Nothing really to worry about here. There's a small issue in the sense that no one is available for any future events. And there's a couple of little niggling injuries in the roster, nothing too major. It's just a couple of things maybe worth looking out for, but overall, not a big deal. Anyway, Fight Night 5. Elias submits Shane McMahon. Sheamus batters Jackson Riker. Dominic beats Cedric Alexander. And for the super heavyweight title, Kane submits Bobby Lashley, just as everyone kind of expected. The predictability isn't great, but the show itself is quite good if you ask me. We've encountered another very minor issue though. as the Fiend has been offered a contract by Ryland, who are basically the New Japan of MMA. But we still have him for another fight. It's nothing to worry about. In fact, he's actually main eventing the next one. He's main eventing Fight Night 6, and what a card this is. Bo Dallas submits Titus O'Neil, Naomi beats Lana, Jinder TKOs Paul Heyman, and The Fiend chokes out Triple H. He then names a local club and says that he's heading there for a post-victory party and that everyone is welcome. So that's obviously great fun. There is a bit of a disciplinary issue though, because apparently he refused to let go of the submission after Triple H had tapped out. But that doesn't really sound like The Fiend to me, so I'm not going to do anything about that. However, when you see what we have lined up for you for the next couple of events, let's just hop right in. Oh, we did it! We put the UFC out of business. Reginald came back. He was a massive draw. I actually forgot to record that part. I'm going to end the video now.